What is going on, everyone? I want to talk about some news I saw today in regards to Brett Brown and the Sixers. And Marc Stein of the NBA has put out there that Brett Brown has a little chance of surviving when it comes to being the head coach as the Sixers, and pretty much saying here, Game 7, Brett Brown is coaching for his job. Now, that bothers me. It really does. The Sixers are going 7 games with the second seed in the Eastern Conference. Do not give me, but Browns, we have the best starting 5. We should be winning the championship. And then there's those same people who want Brett Brown fired are the same ones that say, oh, go get Ty Lue or go get Mark Jackson. Those guys, you put them in Coach Brett Brown's spot right now. Those guys with this roster, you're not winning the championship. What we need is time of these players to grow. This roster, it is what it is. You're going to get Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid at 22 and 25 right now. The problem is they need more experience. They need growth. The problem isn't Brett Brown. It's not. It is such a joke that let's just go here. If Brett Brown's job is Game 7 and the outcome of Game 7, that's a joke. You know what he is at this point. You know what he is. Game 7 on the road against the second seed in the East. That's no embarrassment. You can't tell a coach that I demand to win in Game 7 on the road or you're out of here. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. You should know by now as an organizational standpoint on what Brett Brown brings to the table. Now, listen, it's Marc Stein. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he is the ultimate and everything he says is absolutely 100% true. We've already seen guys who reported for up in New York and got fired for this. Ben Simmons goes out and parties and isn't playing against the Magic. We saw guys up in New York during the Brooklyn Nets series actually lose their job for just throwing nonsense out there. Now, this guy has a little bit more background than what happened earlier in the playoffs with that reporter that I totally even forget his name because he's that much of a nobody to me. But my point is, you can't judge Brett Brown based off of Game 7 on the road. Smart organizations, and we'll find out if the Sixers are that or not, which some things they are with and some things they're not when it comes to specific things inside the organization. For example, the medical staff and how they approach the fan base, garbage. But the process part of it, I liked that. I'm baffled if this is true. And that's key. To me, Brett Brown's coming back. A full year with this team, he's coming back. Now, I don't even know the outcome of Game 7 yet, obviously, because this is being recorded Saturday before Game 7 on Sunday. But I'm just going to say this. If we do come out on top, if we do win Game 7, well, I mean, if you're going to demolish Brett Brown, then you have to praise the hell out of him if he wins. See, this is what bothers me. The same people that scream for Brett Brown to be fired are the same people that said, well, the Raptors are better than us coming into the series. Well, which one is it? Don't just give me, well, the starting 5 is better, because there's so much more than that. If you know sports, it's way more than just, well, your starting 5 is better. The same people who want him crushed if we don't win this series, the same people coming into this series saying, we're not going to win because the Raptors are deeper than us. You can't have it both ways. To me, it is so dumb to think that Game 7 should tell you if Brett Brown is going to take us to the next level or not. No, it's not. Game 7 is not going to tell you. It's not underachieving to go 7 games with the Toronto Raptors. This is what the playoffs are. When you get to this round, it's good squads playing up against good squads, and it's going to be battles. But you have to keep in mind, it's not excuses. What it is reality that 22-year-old point guards don't win you championships. Go check it out. And I always, when I say that, I always get a million comments. Well, Jamal Murray's 22. Well, I'll tell you this. One, they run their offense completely through Jokic. They do. And even if they were somehow to win a championship, that's one in how many years? It's not common. It's really, 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 really uncommon. And that's if they even do win the championship, which I'm not putting my money on it. I would be upset with the organization to pull the plug on Brett Brown after Game 7. I don't think he's coaching for his job. That's my personal opinion. He deserves another year. If we bring everyone back, we bring this team all back together, we bring the band back together, we have another roster that can compete. My opinion, he deserves another year. And that's before Game 7 even goes. It's so ridiculous to think of the mindset. And I know there are so many Brett Brown haters out there, and realistically, I don't know why, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's the most perfect coach in the world, but if you're going to allow Ben Simmons time to grow, if you're going to allow Joel Embiid time to grow, well, then you need to do the same for the coach, because coaches need to grow too. Do you think Greg Popovich is going to allow Brett Brown to stay on his coaching tree and coaching staff that long if he didn't see good things out of Brett Brown? Oh, well, he was on Popovich's tree. Everyone loves Popovich. Well, Popovich is a smart-ass guy. He's not going to allow Brett Brown to stay on his coaching staff if he thinks he's dumb. Brett Brown isn't dumb, all right? He's not the perfect coach in the world. He needs time to grow just like anyone else that's playing. And I already see steps from this year from last year. How about the bench play? We played TJ McConnell how much last year in the playoffs? The rotations going to 7 men. He's learned. You can see it. I mean, if you know basketball, you can see what he's changed from last year to this year. Now, does he need better time with timeouts? Does he need to execute, I think, timeouts better? Yeah, probably. Once again, there's flaws there. There's no reason why this should, and when I say this, I mean Game 7, should be the difference on if he stays or not. We're on the road in Game 7 against the second seed in the East. It's ridiculous to me. It's frustrating, really. Now, we just have to see how it all plays out. A little chance of surviving. For who? For who? I personally believe that it would be the wrong move. But what a joke of an article to put out there the day before Game 7. Listen, I get it. I guess it's part of the business, that clickbait life, journalism these days. It's not the same as it once was. He did that for a reason. I mean, Marc Stein put that out for a reason. It fired me up, though, when I saw that. It did. It fired me up. And I know that there are going to be people who disagree with me completely, but, you know, you can't tell me a coach with this roster gaining at the same time that Brett Brown did. Now, it's not a full year. I mean, you get the roster when Brett Brown got the roster. So turn it over 4 times in a year. Put Ty Lue behind the bench or Mark Jackson, who have reportedly nobody likes playing for him. He's too much of a hard ass. They're going to put you in the same spot. At the end of the day, the players are just not experienced enough, in my opinion. I'm enjoying this run just like anyone else, and I'm not saying they can't win, but what I'm saying is they're still young and raw. At some point, that plays a factor. It's not just, well, the coach is the problem. No, it's not just the coach is the problem. It's we have a young team, and our 2 superstars are young as hell. And that doesn't really relate to championships. They need time to grow, just like the coach. That's my thoughts on this. So we'll see how it all plays out. I'm super excited for Game 7. It's going to be a doozy. I hope the Sixers come out ready to go. If they dictate the pace, we will be okay. But that's the thing. They got to dictate the pace. They need Ben Simmons to play like Game 6 Ben Simmons. They need Joel Embiid to be plus 40 again. I don't know if he can be plus 40 again, but he needs to be a factor. We all know that. But I want to know down below your thoughts on this, and I'm interested to read those comments because I know that they are going to be interesting to say the least. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.